Hello, differentiated reading instructors. Here you will find a quick screencast with some updates for our upcoming groups, literacy groups, and just a couple modifications that you may come across. So we'll go ahead and just walk through our brief hopeful outcomes from this screencast, and that's going to continue to develop an understanding around the research-based practices within differentiated reading instructional groups. And then this next part we won't have a chance to get to, but hopefully come April we'll have some time to spend on calibrating instructional practices and really talking through those instructional components together. So we've done a little bit of work thus far around really understanding what fluency instruction means and what that means for our readers. And what we now know is that we will continue to see sight word instruction taking place in our fluency phases or groups, even in our 3rd and 4th grade classrooms. And really that thinking and research behind that is the more words that students know by sight, the quicker they'll read, and also that will help to improve their comprehension as well. So thinking about sight words, not necessarily even that K2 sight word list, but any word being a sight word list. So for those of you who are teaching a fluency group for this upcoming round, or who may be teaching a fluency group in rounds to come, you'll notice that there's a slight modification from past practices. So before, if you had taught fluency before, we had the sight word instruction embedded in, and then the majority of the time was really spent on that fluency binder. So about 15 minutes where we were doing the phrases, the sentences, and then the passage, and really repeating that passage and thinking through that repeated reading. We now know that really to boost fluency that students need to have application in a variety of texts and application to multiple words and really giving them access to that in their fluency group. So what you'll notice is that if you're teaching a fluency group, more than likely you will have the modified version, and that's going to look like this. So the first component will be the sight word instruction, which will stay the same. After that, you'll still spend a bit of the time in the fluency binder that the teacher had pulled for you, and this is really only going to be a 5-minute chunk of time. So spending time reviewing the phrases and sentences, just about 2 minutes. As the teacher, you'll model the strategy within the binder, so whether that's smoothness or phrasing, but modeling that for a brief 30 seconds with the passage in the binder, and then delving into the passage for about 2 minutes. So again, using that binder, but slight adjustment, really only using it for about 5 minutes. After that, this is the part that has changed, and you will notice that in your fluency group, you should have access to what we call a high interest, low level text. And this is where we'll spend the majority of our time, about 10 minutes. And what this looks like is with a group, you will be choral reading the text. So it's important and critical here that as teachers, we're reading at a fluent pace for students and loud enough for them to hear you modeling that fluent pace. So I know from personal experience and practices, sometimes it feels a little funny to be the loudest voice in that group with students, but really trying to make sure that we do have that loudest voice and really reading that fluent pace. So not necessarily slowing down, but really keeping that fluid pace up and rapid. Again, throughout that opportunity, you can provide feedback to students along the way, and then if time, asking just a quick closure comprehension question. So for example, why did Jack go to the store? Or how is the main character feeling when he lost the basketball game? So just a quick brief overview of those comprehension questions. So, that was a really quick overview of the fluency modification, and please know that I'm more than happy to come in and model a lesson if you would like, or come in and observe and provide feedback. Really just here for that support. And that's about all we have for the fluency, just the quick overview there. We'll go ahead and in the email you will find a link to a Literacy Data Day flyer or like a newsletter. If you have an opportunity, it would be pretty neat to take a quick overview of the letter to just kind of see what's going on in our Literacy Data Days and seeing what teachers are doing with the progress monitoring graphs. And then towards the bottom, you'll notice there's just a quick helpful reminder, and this is a reminder to all staff, but that we're really using that Tuesday, March 21st as a dress rehearsal opportunity. So this is a chance to really set those expectations, making sure that we're coming back from spring break and a great opportunity to start fresh and set those high expectations for kiddos. I have seen and I have noticed teachers using like a sharing circle, and that has been quite successful. So you might consider teaching the expectations for the majority of the time and then even that quick circle time. I've also noticed that some teachers actually get some of the materials out and set those expectations for the word cards or the phrase cards. So again, really just reviewing those expectations and then, if time, having that quick circle or quick touch base to continue to build those relationships with our kiddos. So that's about all we have for our screencast today. Again, thank you for all that you do for our kiddos, and I'm looking forward to a great next round.